Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Five Drinks to Midnight. In the show, we bring the questions, guests bring the drinks, we try to wrap up before midnight. Today, we are talking to the founder of Mover and Shaker, Nick Hogan. But before we get started, like, subscribe, hit the bells, the whistles, leave a comment if you like the episode. Really help us push this in the algorithm. Let's get started. Nick, thanks so much for joining me. Five drinks or midnight, five drinks, five questions, midnight, whatever comes first. How you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for joining us. We're a huge fan, so I'm super excited for this. So thanks again for your time. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Happy to be here. Appreciate
Awesome.
all your ice content as well.
Oh,
Thanks. Yeah, well, a little nerdy, so it's just,
Aren't we all?
yeah. I guess question one, what are we drinking first?
Oh, okay. We're a little conceptual today. We're gonna base off some of the experiences I've had recently. Obviously I told you this, but I've been sober for almost 6 years in December. So, a little bit different maybe than some of your other past podcasters, but
Yeah.
I just had a really good cocktail at Dante in New York City. So we're gonna imagine that we're there drinking this cocktail. And it was like an espresso martini NA version. I think it had like Liar's espresso, three spirits, and then I believe lavender bitters
Okay.
and espresso. So we're gonna start there. So kind of an
right.
espresso NA espresso martini situation. And
Excellent.
obviously it's in this
Yeah.
from the tins.
I love that when you said let's just drink from the tins. And again, I mean, these are my mover and shaker tins. So I love this. So cheers.
Cheers. Yeah, I always drink out of tins in my house, and when I'm on like Zoom calls with liquor people and brand people, they always laugh. Are you really drinking out of
Yeah.
a tin? I'm like, it's the perfect vessel. Why not?
Yeah, it totally works.
Gotta test them out.
Yeah. All right. Well, question one is a little bit of an origin story, or not a little bit. It is an origin story. But how did you get started in the hospitality world? Like again, being a former Angels Envy, I think Guardian is what you guys are called or were called,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
how did Mover and Shaker come about?
Yeah, so I kind of fell into bartending. I feel like most people kind of do. I went to Florida State. I got a degree in finance and risk management. So my first job was corporate world cubicle, and I ended up hating that. And so I ended up kind of doing like, kind of did like seasonal jobs. I taught wakeboarding in the summers in New Hampshire, and I worked ski patrol in the winters in Colorado. And
Nice.
then I ended up coming home one summer and kind of stayed in St. Augustine, Florida, which is like very small, very old, historic, kind of a tourist trap. I'm looking for like these finance jobs, and it was like I would have to drive like an hour up to Jacksonville. So it's kind of like, what else could I do? What else am I into? And I was really into craft beer at the time. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll just work at a restaurant until I can meet people and try to work for like a distributor at some point, doing like sales or become a rep. But I didn't know anybody, I was just kind of new in the city. So yeah, I started at a bar and just literally bar backing. And I didn't know anything about spirits or craft cocktails or like cocktail history. But once I kind of like met the people that were really into it, it like clicked in my brain that there was more to bartending than just one-on-ones, which is what I thought it was. So, I did Bar Smarts Advanced, got like super heavy into, all the cocktail books of the time, like PDT,
Yep.
Liquid Intelligence. There's probably like everybody's origin story, but yeah, I just fell in love like instantly. And I was like, man, this is like what I want to do. I saw like the creative aspect of creating cocktails and kind of telling a story with them, and that resonated with me. I kind of grew up in skateboarding scene and
Nice.
like super heavy into music. So, I kind of saw a way to like play everything, and I could just be myself, and I didn't really have to rely on, a boss and other people. So the world kind of spoke to me. And from there kind of got into like competition side. I had a really great mentor. You may know him as the Garnish guy on Instagram. He
Yep.
unfortunately passed away a few years ago, but that was basically who I learned to bartend with in St. Augustine. And he started the Garnish guy, and I started Mover and Shaker at the same time. And, we kind of had our own journeys, and it was really, really cool. But to digress, he kind of showed me the competition world of bartending. And that's where, I was like, okay, if I want to step forward in this world, like I have to get into competing. So ended up doing really well in the Woodford Reserve Manhattan Experience competition 2017.
Okay.
Got to the finals. I didn't win, but when I went back home, I just had like a newfound respect, as a bartender in the community, and that's kind of how the Angels Envy thing worked out. So ended up getting on board with Angels Envy, kind of early on in my bartending career, about 2 years in. So kind of transitioned into the brand side, and that's where I started doing events. I did a lot of pop-ups, so I was doing like curated menus. Again, like really trying to be really creative, like tying in like movies and music. And that's also when, I was kind of trying to build my brand name, like my personal brand name as a bartender. And, I literally just sat down with a piece of pen and paper, and I was like, how can I get people to, not in an egotistical way, but how can I put my name out there without physically being somewhere? And it was make and sell merchandise.
All right.
So I came up with Mover and Shaker. My best friend at the time, he's still my best friend, was a graphic designer. So I said, hey, I have a couple ideas. I want to make some enamel pens to sell, and, can you design them? And we kind of went 50-50 on this idea, just thinking it would be like, I'd sell 10 pens or something.
Yeah.
Back in the day. There was no like business plan, like in 5 years I'm going to be selling, barware from Cocktail Kingdom, all this. But it really just started with like a few items that I went to my friends' bars, and they were like, this is cool, give me cash. And I think eventually people were like, dude, why do you not have a website? And I was like, yeah, you're right. So my partner Matt built a website, and the Instagram back in the day wasn't really memes. There was some, it was kind of a community based, a little bit,
Right.
Some dialogue, and I met a lot of really cool people. And, now I think people associate it with like memes, which came out of COVID when, we're all kind of stuck. Everybody's out of work. Everybody was like, obviously depressed and kind of just bumming out. So my partner Shannon, she kind of started her own meme page, and it blew up like crazy.
Yeah.
But she like wasn't super into it. She just kind of did it for fun. So she kind of just stopped, and I was like, well, I could do this. Like, I know all the things about the industry. Like I love memes. So I kind of just picked it up, and I guess the rest is history. So I just was like really stern, like really disciplined about it. I was like, okay, I got to post like once a day, like post my meme. And then it eventually became like I was just looking at like what worked on Instagram as far as like the algorithm, and people started posting like carousel of memes. So I'm like, okay, well, I got to post like 8 to 10 memes now. And then I was kind of like, okay, well, I'm going to post when bartenders wake up around noon. And then I'm going to post like kind of when they're getting off work at like midnight.
Yep.
And so that's just, kind of dug myself into a hole of memes.
Love it.
But yeah, that's kind of the origin story there.
It's a great origin story. What'd you ride when you skated? What was your deck of choice?
I really like real boards or anti-hero, so like West Coast boards. I feel like they held up really well. But I think I've skated almost everything. And like some of the brands you like are not the best decks. Like I throw them under the bus, but like Girl and Chocolate, I love those brands, but they'd always chip in like the first day, and you get super pissed. But those like anti-hero and real boards, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's because they all skate like transition, so they're super durable.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's question one, which is awesome. So, cheers to you on that origin story. It's fucking sick. So, cheers.
Cheers.
Question two, drink two. What are we drinking?
So I just had this. I've actually had it before, but I just had it for the first time in a long time. But I was in DC, Cucho, but it's like a little Mexican inspired taqueria. But
All right.
my buddy Jesse Little hooked me up with the mezcal phony Negroni, so we're gonna go there. It's NA, but honestly, it tastes so good. And in being sober, it's really cool to have something that tastes like mezcal because I don't think anybody's really done it. And obviously, it's a Negroni, so it's bitter, smoky. Yeah, it's like really cool to be able to taste that flavor profile again after 6 years.
Yeah.
As a bartender, when mezcal got super hot, that flavor was like, you get that acquired taste for it, and to not be able to have it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
It's crazy how far the game has come because when I first stopped, I think, it was obviously very taboo and I didn't really have anybody I could talk to about it as another bartender. And I don't even know what the NA options were at the time. Like
Coke and juice.
Rules. Yeah. And now you can go into a top 50 bar and, you got 6 options. So it's really cool. Because I think the worst thing is I still go out all the time and I still want to see creativity. So when I go to, 3-4 years ago, you'd go to a top 50 bar and you're getting, sparkling lemonade. It's a little disappointing.
Yeah.
I mean, I still I'll outlast anybody in the bar. We closed down Service Bar in DC, I was there for 4 hours, I'm drinking. They had a NA Swizzle. They had Pathfinder. So I'm taking shots with the crew, I mean, I want to be part of the action. I want to be there and I have money and, people want to be social. They just want to be sober or they want to have 2 cocktails and then they want to have 2 NA drinks, they're still going to spend the money. So,
But all right, so question 2, you kind of talked a little bit about it of how you started with your friend and you designed 2 pins or you designed some pins, but why do you think people in hospitality love pins?
Oh man, I think.
And
We need to talk about your flair.
really? I have 15 pieces on.
I mean, I think the reason that I started with pins is because aprons were huge at the time. Like 7-8 years ago, I had just bought an apron. I was buying pins, and pin culture was huge at the time. So I was buying I think I bought like a MF Doom pin or something, some music pins to put on my apron. So, and I didn't even know I don't know if brands even did pins back then. I'm sure they did, but maybe not to the extent they do today. But I was like, oh, I want a Angostura bottle. So that was the first thing we designed, And I was like, I didn't really think about copyright. I was just like, I'm just going to make these for my friends, basically. But I think that's, they're so easy to trade. They're so easy to gift. You can put them on things.
Yep.
And my mindset was basically take the Fernet coin, but democratize it. So take things that are very well recognized in the craft bartending world and make them so that people can get them and gift them to other people. So the first couple things were just all very nerdy, niche bartending things like Jerry Thomas pin. We did kind of a nondescript Fernet one. But it was never gonna be this business that it was today. It just was let's just do something for us kind of deal. And snowball.
Yeah. When you where do you get inspiration for the products that you guys make? Your shirts and crying in the walk-in and again, is it just when you're gonna go take on a pin, is there do you have a set mind of what you want to make, or is it just kind of let the industry decide what, give the people or the masses what they want, kind of thing?
Yeah, I think it depends now. Once I was able to kind of like turn it into a business, it was kind of like, okay, well, some stuff is like stuff I want to do. Some stuff is you got to make a little money, so you got to do
Yeah.
some like crowd pleasers. But a lot of it's come from a lot of our early stuff was parody stuff, and moved more into like original designs. But everything obviously revolves around like those inside jokes. So like the walking
Yeah.
stuff, 86, a lot of 86 stuff.
Yep.
Just little like phrases. And then, some of the stuff is like stuff I've had conversations with on Instagram with people. So, like the no crying in the walk-in sticker, and then somebody DM'd us like, it should be no crying or no walking in the cry-in. So that's pretty funny. So I ended up making a sticker of that too. So like, kind of, or like anything could happen. There's like one pen that's based off like this Yelp review where the bartender said like, I am the cocktail menu. You may have seen that one, but like so many people in the comments are just like, this needs to be a shirt or a pen. So I end up making a pen out of it. So it really just depends. Kind of just like, is it funny or is it viral or is it kind of just something everybody says and we got to turn it into like something cool. It's kind of the beauty of it. I don't have investors or anything. It's just,
Okay.
I can do whatever I want or not, and I just try to do stuff that I like. I don't even hope other people like it. It's worked out.
So then, has there ever been a product that you thought was going to be like fucking sick as hell and sell out and just be like, shit, like that didn't work out? And then also vice versa?
I mean, there's probably products that sell slower, but those are things that like, I think they're funny and I kind of do them. Like I did a pin that would just said like, this is back when like Dante first hit the scene, and so like Garibaldi's were like super hot, and I just made it was just like a rip off of the Galaga logo, and it said Garibaldi.
Okay.
And I was probably the only person that thought that was cool, I think they've sold over time, but like, I was just like, I think it's funny.
That's awesome.
But there's nothing like that just like tanked or anything.
Oh no, and I did, but just again, you guys, stuff is sold out all the time. Like again, I don't think anything would ever tank. It just was more of like, because I always I do with my coins and stuff like I think like, oh, this one's gonna be fucking awesome, and then like no one does it, and then you're like what the hell, like that. But
I think that's half the battle. Sometimes things are just more popular than you realize, and I mean, this is kind of like goes along with that, but like I designed the mise en place shirt that was just like the North Face logo, but instead of the North Face said mise en place, and like we had that shirt for like 2 years and like didn't sell more than 100, and then I started doing like Facebook ads, and I had a guy that did them, and for some reason like it caught the algorithm on Facebook, and I was selling like $2,000 a day of this shirt, like every day for like 3 or 4 months. And like, I was like, I've literally had this shirt for 2 years and no one like cared. And now it's just, I guess it was the right place, or I don't even know what happened, but it was just like going crazy. And then eventually North Face sent us a cease and desist, which is kind of funny, but I don't know. I don't know. Things just happen. So I don't ever get like bummed out if something doesn't sell as well as I thought. It's just the next thing, and I like it,
And then not looking for like secrets or anything, but like do you have like a huge warehouse for shipment? Like how big is Mover and Shaker right now? Like is it? I assume that it's got to be huge, or is it really just you?
It's so I have one person that does fulfillment. My buddy Cole, he's super awesome, crushes it. He pretty much handles everything.
Okay.
So I used to have an office during COVID. That was kind of just strictly for fulfillment. We had a couple storage units. But during COVID, I found a house that had this like insane garage, like a 1,700 square foot garage. And then there's like a room on the house that's basically like a dedicated office. So The garage has pretty much all of our racks for our shirts, and then I built like a bar in there for photo shoots.
Okay.
So yeah, it's not like a massive warehouse. It definitely could be bigger, but we keep it like pretty lean, honestly. And I think we have like 300 or 400 pins, but 100 pins is kind of like this.
Yeah.
We have kind of like parts bins for like if you were like a mechanic. So our office is basically just like from top to bottom, these like bins that you can pull out with the pins in them. So Cole is very like OCD, very organized, alphabetical order. So everything's just super well organized, and we have a lot of stickers. Like a lot of the stuff is smaller. I think shirts are kind of the biggest thing. Some of the glassware sets are kind of bulky, but I just keep things kind of like limited and just order when we need to. Our printer's local, so we can do things like pretty quick turnaround. So it's just been kind of like, we've been doing it for like 70 years now, so kind of the process is down where we can keep things like pretty lean, and that's kind of how I want to do it. I'm not like the greatest at managing people, and I don't want to be that way really. So I just like having like one person I have to worry about, and honestly, I'm just like, do whatever you want, do whatever you got to do, as long as we're getting stuff done. And
as long as it's getting done.
And that's how I want to keep it. Granted, like our sales numbers, like if you showed me that 5 years ago, my mind would have been blown. But it's just kind of the natural cycle of the Instagram growing and people that run e-commerce. I mean, find a really good Facebook or Google ad person. I can give you mine even. But like, I saw like a drastic jump in sales when I started doing advertising, which I was very nervous about advertising, very scared. It's obviously a lot of money, but I mean, it works. It really does. So it's been really cool.
Well, that's awesome. And then just again, because you talked about social media, are you like the guy on social media, or like are you the one that's? Because again, you guys post quite a bit, so like that's got to be a full-time job just in itself.
Yeah, so I've always run the Instagram from the start. It's always me. If you message, it's going to be me. I'm pretty much always on my phone. I get a ton of DMs. I'm very, very thankful for all the stuff people send in. I love the drink tickets. I think that's like some of the best stuff that Uber and Shaker kind of has to offer. But I probably spend like 2 to 3 hours per post, so that's 1 or 2 posts a day. So the majority of my day is kind of curating the content and putting everything together and hoping people like it. And I mean, there's no oversight, so I just post what I think is funny and hope everybody else does, and let people find the comments or make friends in the comments.
Well, the drink tickets has been one of my favorites, just of people respond, like the Tito's and vodka, and it's just very funny of just. That's always a good chuckle in my morning. So again, I appreciate it. Keep it up.
I think I want it to be like a reflection of what we do, because I don't think a lot of people understand like the bartender's mentality or like what we go through. So I try to keep it like very true to like, I guess it's obviously my experiences because I'm posting it, but I try not to post anything super corny or like I don't post like branded stuff. But just insight into what we do. I don't know. Guess that's what I try to do.
It's hard, but no, you're absolutely right, because again, I don't think people really understand the stuff that bartenders really, or hospitality industry people really have to put up with. And I love that you're the funny way of bringing it to light, because it's almost like that. Like there's the thing here with like Bill Murray. If you meet Bill Murray in New York, and like he'll do some wacky weird shit, and he'll just tell you that, be like, no one will believe you if this that this happened. So like for you to like posting that like that's for me, it's that kind of moment of being like, nobody will believe it until you actually see it. So like that's
until you live it,
So like that's the Tito's and vodka, or I think my friend Erna tagged you guys in a post the other day for one where the guy wanted an extra dirty martini, but no olive juice in the martini. He wanted the olive juice on the side with olives on the side. So he just wanted basically cold gin and then everything on the side. So it was, it was just absolutely hilarious. It just,
Wow.
nobody believes you until you see it. So
that guy does not trust his bartender to add the olive juice. Love that.
yeah. So it was hilarious. But all right, that's question 2.
Sweet.
All right, question 3, drink 3. What are we drinking?
We're gonna go with just my classic caffeine fix, the yerba mate. I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly. Gayaki. It's in like the tall boy yellow cans. Drink exclusively the Enlightenment.
They're very nice.
But I like all yerba mate. I definitely dabbled in brewing my own for a little while because those cans are very expensive. But yeah, it's I think it's like 150 milligrams of caffeine. And in my opinion, it hits you like a little bit like through the day rather than coffee kind of just like spikes you with anxiety. So I kind of had to cut back severely on my coffee intake.
Gotcha. Awesome. Well, cheers.
Cheers.
Question 3 then. What's one piece of advice you wish you would have got sooner in life?
In life, wow. I mean, that's tough. I think it's funny because this is going to get very like Freudian, I guess. But my parents always put a lot of pressure on education and getting a real job, and I think that's even bartending world deal with that. Even when I started Mover and Shaker, and even when it was starting to get successful, and even now a little bit. But I would just say that don't worry too much about what you should be doing in life, and just if you have the right intentions and put in the work, I think you're going to get where you need to go. And to add on to that, if I can do what I've done with Mover and Shaker, I think anybody can do anything because, I didn't know anything about running or owning a business, and I just took it day by day and learned the steps that I needed to during that day. And, it compounds into the knowledge that you need to do what you're doing. So don't look at something, don't look at somebody where they're at. You can say you want to get there, but just take the steps to get there, put in the work, break it down a little bit, and it's going to be a lot more manageable, a lot more digestible, because I'm not some super genius. I don't know everything. I just took something that I was very passionate about and kind of saw a gap that was, no one was doing something, and took it. And I guess another big important piece would be the networking aspect. I sacrificed probably making money to go to Tales of the Cocktail and Portland Cocktail Week and Camp Run Amok and Bartenders Week. And those are all things I still do now because I believe in them. But when you go there, go shake the hands of people, ask what brands they work for, their interests, go to their classes, learn stuff, pay attention. Maybe don't drink every single drink that touches your hand, and try to remember stuff. And when you get home, add that person on Instagram, tell them, thank you so much. I really enjoyed your class. Where are you going to be next? Those are all things I did. Those are all things I do every time I go visit a city. I try to show gratitude for meeting those people, let them know what I think I enjoyed about the place. Just be a genuine person, and people really enjoy that. And I love when people come visit Jacksonville. Not the coolest place in the world, but if you come visit me, I would love to show you around, and I will make Jacksonville cool because I know cool people that live there, and I want you to have a good time.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So I love visiting anywhere. Like I want to go to your city, and I want you to show me what you enjoy about your city. So It was a very long-winded answer, but
no, that's awesome. Other than Jacksonville, do you have a favorite city?
I could never just pick one. But I mean, I really, really enjoyed DC while I was there. New York, I was never huge on New York until this last trip. I really enjoyed it. I love San Diego. The weather's awesome. It's got a really awesome bar scene. I love Portland a lot too. Yeah, I mean, I guess everywhere I go, I fall in love with. So it's not the right person to ask. But I love Kentucky a lot. Being in the bourbon world.
No, I'm the same way. It's New York again will always be home, and they say that the greatest thing about New Yorkers is that that you have the ability to leave, but you get just as excited of coming back. So like that's always people talk because I love that skyline view of like when you're flying back into New York and you get that like it just it makes me happy.
Beautiful.
Not looking for secrets or anything, but where do you see yourself in 5 years? Like what's next for you guys?
Man, I'm this is a bad question for me. I'm also like not a goal setter type person. I'm more of a like seize the opportunity as it comes, and kind of like I said when I started Mover and Shaker, it was never like I want to be this. It was just like I want to have fun and I want to make stuff that I like and hope people like it. So I don't really know what that looks like for me. I think as long as it's something creative and artistic, I do a lot of photography, so I have that aspect going on as well.
Okay.
I don't know. I just love the bartending community. So as long as I'm like fostering that and building it, I think I'll be happy.
That's no, I think that's fucking awesome. I think that's question 3. So cheers.
Sweet. Cheers.
All right. Question 4, drink 4. What are we drinking?
Yeah, let's drink the NA Swizzle that I had at Service Bar this past week. It was Amaro Lucano makes a NA, which I did not know that. I'm pronouncing that right. And then it was pineapple, lime oleo, and mint. May have had NA bitters, I'm not sure.
Okay.
But obviously swizzled in like a big nice glass with mint, big mint bouquet. Yeah, pretty cool. Didn't really think I'd have something like that as an NA option. So
that's awesome.
I was very very excited. Yeah, I had a great time there.
Awesome. Well, cheers.
Cheers.
All right. So then question 4, you're fucking busy as all hell. I mean, you're doing pop-ups. Fernet, like you're working with brands. You did your Fernet coin. Like you're just all over the place. Is there a brand that you're looking or would love to work with again, or a new brand to work with? Like again, you did the Tailspins. Like you guys have had so many great collabs. I mean, the Wu-Tang collab. Like again, like you guys have just killed it on like the collaborations and the pop-ups. So is there some like brand that you'd love to work with or maybe work with again?
That's a good question. Yeah, I mean the Raekwon Wu-Tang collab was amazing. Obviously I'm a big like hip hop head, so it'd be cool to work with anybody. I did make some like under the radar NF Doom strainers that were kind of like for buddies. So I mean that would be sick. I think I did reach out to his label, and didn't. I think it was just like on Instagram, so I didn't hear anything back. But I mean, that would be like super cool.
Yep.
You kind of learn that working with brands is like a lot of hoops and waiting and like a lot of promises and then falling through. So I'm more or less like I want to work with brands, but I want it to be like symbiotic, and I want each side to be happy. Kind of working on something maybe cool for Negroni Week, hoping it happens, but it's with Jay and Tony's out of San Diego. They have really sick bombers, so I'm not gonna tell you what it is, but if you know Jay and Tony's, you can kind of figure it out. But yeah, hopefully that works out in time. But um, man, I mean, I'll work with anybody if the idea is cool, and
Okay.
um, yeah, like it's just gotta be symbiotic. Like the Fernet thing in Mexico was amazing. Like
That was fucking
they did it
awesome.
right. They spent the money to do a really good party, and the guests got the experience that in return is what you get out of something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying by me being there, they just built out the space really, really cool. I was able to do some really cool cocktails, design the coin, and in return, I got to see the city, Mexico City, which was awesome, and
That's awesome.
that bar is amazing. Gaito's super sick. Everyone that works there was like an angel and super cool. So I'm more or less like I would rather do things myself now or
Gotcha.
work with somebody that wants to invest in like a party that makes sense.
Gotcha.
Our party at Tails was super awesome with Heaven Hill. Um, very fortunate to work with my friend Dana. She, put in the due diligence on this party and it was awesome. So, really trying to like amp up the pop up game, hopefully for 2025 and be more, forward facing myself. It was a little
Okay.
difficult when I worked for Angels NB because technically I'm like a non compete.
Right.
So it's kind of like more behind the scenes. So now I can really push and put myself out there and be somebody that you can like kind of come meet and hang out with. And, I want Mover and Shaker to go from the digital space to in person, but I still want it to be about the guest. And when I say that, I mean like the industry people, um, just like enjoying a party,
Yeah. No, that's fucking awesome. And also, if you do make the Doom strainers, please let me know because I would buy that in a heartbeat. So that's
Oh, hell yeah.
like too, like I mean, even with the Star Wars stuff that you guys did, like that's like any like cease and desist, or were they just cool to do that?
Uh, haven't said anything yet. Actually, they buy them for the cantina in Orlando, which is kind of crazy.
That's
Saw an
awesome.
order. Yes, saw an order come through with like a Disney email, and I was kind of like, "Oh, this is probably a lawyer." But I did some like Google research, and it was just like somebody that does purchasing for Disney. And then later saw somebody like tagged us in some videos, so they were using the smuggler. Everything is
That's
Star Wars inspired.
yeah.
So
That
I don't know. I mean, hopefully we're just like a very small blip in the Disney
yeah,
radar.
yeah. That's so fucking awesome. Have you ever been like that? Have you ever like found your stuff in the wild and then just being like shocked of like people like again, I guess outside of the bar community, uh I mean I would be fucking psyched if I was at Disney and then all of a sudden see somebody
Yeah.
pouring with the smuggler strainer. Like that would have been fucking awesome.
Yeah, that's probably the coolest story. I get a lot of like, I mean, obviously now we're a little more ubiquitous in the scene, but like a couple years ago, I'd get like my parents traveling and they always would like, be like, this guy's wearing your pin, or like I had a friend in London that was like, this guy's got like a mover and shaker stuff. And that was always cool because it's like, that was like my goal in the beginning was to like
Yeah.
get my brand out there. And so now, that it's like global worldwide,
Yeah.
oh, it's a weird feeling. It's basically its own, it's a little baby that just grew up and
Yeah, yeah.
moved away from home, and now it's kind of got a life of its own, and people have their own perception of it.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome. It's well deserved too. Like again, your success
Thanks.
is fucking sick, dude. Like honestly, you deserve
Thank
it.
you.
You work hard, and it shows that you are absolutely in love with your brand, and that you do anything to make it work. And I just think that's fucking awesome. So, and that's
Thanks,
question
man. I
4.
appreciate that.
So, cheers.
Sweet. Cheers.
But all right, question 5, drink 5. What are we drinking?
I got to give a shout out to like one of my favorite spirits, NA spirits, and it's Pathfinder. You can shoot it. It's like an Amaro. I think it's hemp based, but think maybe like Jaeger, a little funkier. But they have an amazing brand team. I love all of them. Anybody that's supporting the NA community, got to give a shout out to. So cheers.
Cheers. Oh. All right. So question 5 comes down to the flip of whiskey. When's the coin? You can flip it, you can spin it, you can do whatever you want. One side says fuck yeah, one side says fuck no. But the coin will give us the answer. You don't have to answer. But if you feel free, please answer. But question 5, I heard that you started Mover and Shaker so that everybody would know your name. Do you still want people to know your name?
I don't know. I don't think I'm that egotistical, but I mean, if they know Mover and Shaker, it'd be cool if they knew my name, I guess. I think I've definitely had it where like we worked a whole pop up and like people just thought like I was some like, worker that was hired or something. And it's just like, and that's fine. It's kind of funny. It's just like, they think it's like some like big entity. And it's like, no, if you're like emailing us, it's like one of two people, or if you DM, it's going to be me. So I don't know. I think if anything, I've been trying to get people to follow my personal Instagram just so they can see like, because I post a lot of like my personal travels, which is like bar related. So, if they're into bartending and they're following Mover and Shaker, they might as well follow me and kind of see what my life's about. And, I shoot all the bartending events, so I may run into you at some point. So I want to be your friend. I don't know. I want to be, I want to network. I want to come to your bar someday. So I guess, know my name. That's cool.
No, it's just, it was more of like, now that you've gotten so big and famous, do you wish that people really didn't know your name? But I mean, again, the personal stuff, I do, like, I get it. Like, that is, well, cheers to you. Thank you again for joining the show.
Cheers.
We really appreciate it. And so we can drink together again soon. So cheers.
Very soon. Later.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Thanks.